Welcome back to Tech and Toys. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. James has been collecting retro games for over 15 years and we thought it would be great for you guys to see his collection, and it is massive, let me tell you. Yeah. So if you want to give us a little bit of insight into your...
Well, let's head over to my house. We'll go through and have a look at some of the 6,000 odd games I've got and hundreds of consoles, and just have a little tour of my room. We'll talk about some of the rarer bits I've got, what are my favourite items, and yeah, let's just go over and have a little look.
Let's go.
So here we are, we're in my games room at my house. Not going to give you the address, so I don't want anyone coming over and stealing all of it. But yeah, so I've been collecting all of this stuff over probably about 18 years, I reckon, now so far. So this is just obviously one corner of the room.
So the first thing I've noticed, you've got no windows in here. Is that for a specific reason? Because there's one on the outside.
Well, actually it was for two reasons. Firstly, because I actually ran out of wall space to put any more shelving units up, but it actually serves a far more important purpose, and that is that sunlight bleaches the boxes. So you know, I don't really want any sunlight in here whatsoever, because the UV will just bleach all the boxes, make them fade. Yeah, and obviously, as I said, I ran out of wall space, so it actually served two purposes.
I can see up here the whole of your top row is just full of consoles, all boxed. Have you got a favourite?
Oh, I don't know. I suppose my favourite is the thing that I started out with. So that when I originally started collecting, I started out with the Atari Lynx. It was the first colour console, handheld console, to be honest, that I bought, even though the Game Gear was around the same sort of time. But that was the first one I bought. So when I started collecting again, it kind of all spurred from me going back and buying a Lynx and buying a couple of the games, and then it kind of all grew from there.
So your Lynx is your favourite console?
Yeah, I'd say, being that it was the thing that I started with, it's probably my favourite console.
Are there any games that you haven't got that you're after?
There's probably loads, if I'm honest. I've still got actually one more game until I have a complete
for which console?
Set for the Lynx, actually, for the Atari Lynx. So I still have one game that I've still got to buy for that. That doesn't include like the unreleased ones, because there's a few sort of homebrews and stuff floating around for that. But yeah, there's one official release game which I still don't have for the Lynx, so I will track that down at some point. But
not at the moment.
Yeah.
What's the most amount of money you have spent on one single game or console? You can choose the answer to that question.
I went through a phase a couple of years ago of buying consoles just to stick in the collection. They were real sort of niceties that I wanted to have. But this wasn't an old school purchase. This, at the time, it had just been released, and I bought a Wii U Zelda edition, and I think I think that cost me something like £350 when it came out, and it's done nothing. I've literally stuck it on the shelf. It's there. It hasn't moved. I've never unboxed it. You know, some would say you're doing that for hopefully it increasing in value. I didn't really think about that at the time. I just bought it.
The Wii U bombed as a whole, didn't it? In terms of the home game market,
so,
I don't think it was very well adopted.
No,
I guess from a collector's perspective, it's the Zelda edition, so it's going to be, you know, and it's completely boxed and unopened. So it's going to
Zelda as a whole, kind of, it's a little bit special for me. I loved Zelda I actually didn't really get into Zelda until it came out on the SNES. But over the years, I've really enjoyed the Zelda games. So, you know, bar that and the Marios, they've always kind of held a special place in my heart. So whenever I've sort of seen a new game come out, there's either Zelda or Mario, I tend to, you know, buy those and stick them in the collection.
I guess that leads to my next question. What is your all-time favourite game out of all the ones you have here?
Oh, I don't know. I think actually, I haven't really given that much thought, but probably one of the games I've spent the most time on and I enjoyed the most, certainly when I was younger, but even now when I just want a quick go on something, UN Squadron for the Super Nintendo. I loved that game, loved the music, loved everything about it, and that's kind of it's a go-to game for me, you know, when I want to have a quick go on something, I tend to, you know, head straight for that, and just even for a 10-minute play, you can pick it up, you can play it, you can
put it down,
leave
again,
it, and off you go.
Okay, so talk me through the main element of your collection. Have you got any complete sets for any of the consoles? I have
a couple of complete sets. As I said, I'm only one away on the links. The GameCube, it was a really bizarre one. I didn't actually own a GameCube when they came out. I picked up a couple at a car boot sale, and a couple of games and a couple of consoles, and picked them up, and over the years I sort of managed to pick up more and more, and then I kind of looked, and there's around 540 games in total for a PAL.
You do have a lot
UK.
Here. You can't see, but behind me here's a whole nother shelf of GameCube games.
Yeah, so I kind of realised that I was like 75% of the way through having a complete set, and then it just became this, over the course of about 2 years, I kind of spent time on eBay, and I did find some at car boot sales and things, and ended up just hunting down the ones that I didn't have, and buying them. You know, I'll be honest, there's a lot here that I've never even played or taken out, but I do have a GameCube that I just hook up, and, you know, so I can have a quick game, and obviously I can select pretty much anything off the shelf and have a play for a couple of hours.
I noticed you got a lot of collectibles here, like this Resident Evil 4 collectible thing. I've not seen that before. They're dotted around everywhere. You got little bits and pieces.
That's right. I picked up the odd bits and pieces over the years, just random collectibles. I ended up, because of a previous job I was in, getting the odd piece of memorabilia that actually came through as a press release kit.
Right.
Because I was in the gaming industry, I used to get sent them on occasion, so those have kind of worked their way into the collection, and
they do make for good viewing, don't
they do. They're nice little pieces. I mean, this chainsaw controller, I can't honestly say you would ever want to use that to play a game with, because it's so uncomfortable to hold, but it's a cool piece of, you know, retro memorabilia, really.
I've noticed this little Mario sneaking in here on the shelf. Perhaps we'll pop him back. So what's the rarest item you have in this room?
Okay, so in this cabinet next to you, I got a couple of years ago sent to me a NES game. Now it was a re-release, originally DuckTales, which was a massively popular game on the NES originally. It was re-released. DuckTales was re-released for the PlayStation 4 and for I believe it was PlayStation 4. So it got re-released anyway. And as a nice thing that they sent out for the re-release to some of the press, they sent out a little lunchbox
I think I remember that. It's the
that's
golden
right.
one with the
that's right.
with
Yeah,
the money
so
that's shredded
that's
up
right.
inside.
Shredded money inside, and with a gold cartridge inside. Now there was apparently only 150 of these distributed worldwide,
And you have one.
and
in
I
your
have
collection.
one of them, which is really nice.
Superb.
And probably one of the other rarer things I've got in here is a little bit unusual. So I have a Valve, as in the developer, book. It's like a comic book, a hardback comic book, and I've got that, but it's signed by Gabe Newell and the entire Valve team.
Is that the developers of Portal?
Yeah, that's right. So
Perfect.
it was signed by all of them, and it was sent out to a load of press, and I managed to get my hands on one. So
That's a nice trinket to have.
Yeah,
That's
it's
nice
really
to have.
nice. So I mean, I do like those bits as much as I love collecting the games themselves to play them. I love all the little bits and pieces that you can pick up and add to the collection. They're quite cool, especially when like hardly anybody else around the world has got them.
I've noticed it's a great collection, but you are running out of room. What
Yes.
is the next plan? Because this is wall to ceiling to floor, just everything. Every wall.
I guess it's buying a bigger house to have it all.
To
I mean,
accommodate
ideally, in an ideal world, I'd love to have a bigger room dedicated to this lot. I'm out of room in here. I can't put anything more really on the shelves. So unfortunately, even down here, I've got games stacked up in front of the shelves because I'm just out of room in here. But yeah, I would love to. I originally, when I laid out this room before my collection got as big as it is now, I used to have a couple of chairs in here and a TV to play the games on. Just because the collection kept growing, I ended up having to get rid of the chairs and rid of the TV. So now, if I want to play, I have to take a console
downstairs
to the living room and hook it up. So,
how does your wife feel about you utilising one of your bedrooms in your house purely for games?
Yeah, it's at first she was on the fence whether she thought it was cool. She liked the collection, but she obviously didn't like losing an entire room in the house, especially when we had people over to stay. So obviously nobody sleeps in here, so this room is completely off bounds. But but over the years, she's actually she loves it. She'll come in here and we'll hook up a couple of games and play them on the TV downstairs. So it's she's
family
on
enjoyment.
side.
I think is the word we're going to use there.
She's on
Family
side
enjoyment.
now.
I know you got a lot of Game Boy colours. They're all boxed and brand new. Is that every colour they did?
No, I think I am probably missing one or two. There's a couple of special editions that I never got hold of. As I said at the beginning, a lot of this stuff I picked up from car boot sales over the years. So it's only when I get to the stage where I've got 90% or 80% of something that I then end up hunting around on eBay.
The small items that are difficult to find.
The problem is with retro gaming collecting now is, back when I started, it wasn't a thing.
Yeah. So it was easy to kind of get hold of.
Yeah, I would hunt around a car boot sale and I would come back literally with a car cram pack full of games, Mega Drive games, Super Nintendo games, PlayStation 1 games, and they were like, 20 pence, or 15 cents.
That was going to lead me to my next question. Is the game values have obviously gone up intrinsically for people to buy them, which means for you to go and source them, a price has gone up.
Oh, they've gone up massively. I suppose I've calmed down my collecting over the years, not through because I've lost interest. It's actually calmed down because I don't want to pay eBay prices for stuff.
Yeah, sure.
As I said, when I started out going around car boots, I was picking them up, and you would get a game that you knew was rare and that nobody had, and you could pick those up really cheap because people didn't really know. They just wanted rid of them. They got a box down from the loft, and it would have a Super Mario World boxed in mint condition game for the Super Nintendo. And people just go, well, give us £1 for it, and it'd be brilliant. But nowadays, everybody kind of
they know the value of them.
Well, they either know it or they actually go, well over the top for actually what it's worth. You know, it might be a 30 quid game on eBay, and you go to a car boot and spot it and think, oh yeah, you know, I might buy that if the price is right, and they
want 60 or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the market's changed dramatically. I suppose I don't buy as much as I used to.
Do you have a specific list of, when you buy something, a quality that's got to be in? Has it got to be boxed? Has it got to have the original manuals?
Yeah, I'm big on
originality.
I prefer everything to be boxed. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have games in here that do not have their original boxes. I don't tend to sell stuff unless it's a duplicate, and I always keep the best version of
for yourself.
Of what I've got. But I have a giant size spreadsheet that goes across multiple tabs with all of the consoles and the games that I've got listed, and a little marking in 1 to 10 on quality, and I if I spot a good deal for one that is in a cardboard box and it's a bit tattered or torn, and I want to replace it, I do that just so that I've got a good copy. But I do have a number of unboxed games because until I find a boxed version or come across it,
it's in your collection.
It's in my collection. I have it. I can play it. And actually, the unboxed ones are great because I don't have to worry about opening it. It's just there. I can chuck it straight in the console and play it.
It is done. Yeah. I mean, considering some of these are 30, 35 years old, they're in remarkably good condition.
Yeah.
I mean, these look new as you would buy them.
Yeah, there are some.
90s.
As I said, I try to get the ones in the best condition possible. Because I'm trying to sort of preserve the history of video gaming as much as possible. Nobody likes seeing the tatty boxes on the shelf. I do have one or two that have been a bit squished, and Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 and even NES to a certain extent, they were all released in cardboard boxes, so they're the hardest to find in good condition. Things like the Sega Mega Drive, for example, they're all plastic boxes, so you really have to have treated them badly to have them destroyed
damaged.
them. So
I guess my other question is going to be: do you have the fabled E.T. from the Atari 2600, which I think was known as probably the worst game that was ever made and went straight to landfill?
I don't actually. I don't believe it actually got released in the UK.
I know a few people have had a few of them that they've dug up, but it's.
No, there are a lot of rare games out there that I don't own. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to own them, but the chances of me coming across them in the wild is highly unlikely. Otherwise, I'm buying it from eBay and I'm paying exorbitant amount of money for it. So, I'm probably not going to do that.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe down here, and join us on our next video.